Hey there, Jared Poole here, otherwise known as CT over on Discord and Reddit. I am the Community Associate at Phoenix Labs, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Behemoth. Today we're going to be looking at the creation of Chronovore and talking to our engineers, our designers, and our artists, and discovering what work went into bringing this creature to life. So without further ado, let's just dive into it.
So I think the biggest challenge we faced was that this was the first capstone behemoth we were doing outside of an escalation. So there was a lot to figure out with how it fit into hunting grounds, how we wanted players to interact with it. Chronovore was kind of like our baby. We learned a lot from this behemoth. It's actually a brand new team that we had for behemoths. Most of the people, or almost all of us, it was our first behemoth or our first capstone. So there's lots of meetings that we go to and we talk about what the players would want, what the themes we want to use are, and then kind of map that out based on the schedule and see what we can do for a season.
When we were originally going through all the concept art, we had these like really cool jellyfish and then like these ribbon eels and manta ray, and then we decided let's try to make all of them with one behemoth. So I gathered a ton of reference of just all sorts of different weird underwater life, and we wanted to try to like be able to capture different aspects from each one of those. The Chronovore is all about contrast with us. Would look at like having it be a bit of a shapeshifter where it really drastically changes its pose and almost changes its behavior and its personality based on the different states that it's in.
We definitely wanted to create something very different from the rest of the behemoths that came before, but also something that fit into the lore of Dauntless. With Chronovore, it was a mixture of different animals. We even looked at Chinese ribbon just to look at the rhythm and timing of the ribbons and the tail so that we could match it. From an animation standpoint, it was very difficult because at an early on stage, we weren't really thinking of specific move types, but we were clearly thinking of if it's in this pose, he's doing more kind of jellyfish, slow moving kind of attack. When he goes into kind of this snake-like form and during the rage, that's something that came really natural to me when I was making it. I was like, oh, how do I make him more menacing? Oh, I've seen that before. It's a cobra.
Very, very early, one of the Chronovore's designs was to be a flying behemoth. Just based on some of the challenges with implementing them in the past, we really wanted to make sure that if the Chronovore was going to take that agile aerial approach, that there were clear countermeasures that the player could take. One of the key things about this encounter in particular is making sure there was always some way to answer. The thing that I'm the most proud of is the fact that we were able to take advantage of some new systems that we've been exploring in Dauntless. So the idea was to make the Chronovore the exemplar example, to sort of tie Radiant on the Behemoth side together and then potentially explore additional mechanics in the future.
So the vibe of Chronovore to me really developed from the sound design. I saw this kind of flying alien manta ray type thing, but then when I heard Derek put in these kind of leathery sounds for what was flying around, and then when I saw that he consumes another behemoth, I was like, oh man, this guy's just a vampire. And for me, Radiant in the past has always been kind of a series of overlapping arpeggios. And we've got that this time, but there's also this kind of menacing, creepy sort of Dracula theme.
In approaching the Chronovore, I actually wanted to challenge myself. I usually, when I first approach Behemoth design, I go, okay, I'm gonna grab a mic and I'm gonna scream into it. Because this is a type of alienoid creature, I'm like, I'm gonna use something different. And so I landed on elephants and whales. When Glitter's angry and aggressive, you're hearing more of the elephant. And when it's more elusive, it's using a lot of whale-like vocalizations. Hi there. Do you like whips? Well, you've come to the right place to help sell one of the moves that the Chronovore does, which is a tail whip move. So I bought a whip, learned how to use it. It actually was so cool to hear how different the contrast was between the original sound I made and the one with the actual whip crack. Old one? New one. Yeah, I think it adds a little more character and flair to it.
Radiant bleach is this idea that the radiant energy is some sort of like sun energy, and it bleaches the objects and the environments around it. So you will notice in the arenas that everything is toned to the white stone, the gold around it, and there's the purple. The idea of the crystals for Paradox Spray came from the idea of time shards and the sand of times becoming crystallized. We decided to try this material, which was bismuth. This is the first time where we're taking big swings on creating big monumental architectural places in our islands. And the new island set for Radiant is the most beautiful island, in my opinion. I am really, really enjoying and liking how it's turning out. And the fact that you can fight a Keystone Behemoth in it, which is something I'm very proud of that we pull off.
And that's it. Thank you so much for stopping by for another behind the scenes look at Dauntless. And if you want all the latest and greatest news, be sure to follow us on social media below. And if you want to be part of the discussion, join our Discord and Reddit. Our developers hang out there quite frequently, talking about subjects with our fans and listening to feedback. And until next time, clear skies and happy hunting.